every day. Oh, in the city of the Zuma, for every man and woman, nation's capital, so we're standing tall. It's the city of the Zuma, for Pupa and Numa, nation's capital, so we're standing tall. There is freedom, no segregation. Welcome to the city of my president.
Hello, good morning, and thanks for joining us. You're watching Dateline Abuja on AIT. I'm Hawa Momo. Today's episode was inspired by an article published by Forbes magazine about a few Nigerian clergymen and how they spend and live a flamboyant lifestyle, spending millions of dollars acquiring private jets and properties. Sadly, they're right. Nigerians are in constant reminder of the gap between the elites, the middle class, and the others. A World Bank report recently put the number of unemployed in Nigeria to 40 million, which represents about 25% of the country's population. Bear in mind that 40 million is approximately 60% of the population of Great Britain. Some clergymen live a luxurious lifestyle that are devoid of modern-day reality. It is unfortunate that in a country with over 200 million people, based on the latest United Nations estimates, over 91 million people are living in abject poverty. There are no differences between some clergymen and Hollywood superstars. Today on the show, we'll be discussing clergymen and the display of affluence. But before then, we spoke to some concerned Nigerians to seek their views. Let's take a listen.
It's good to acquire wealth, but while acquiring wealth, what is the purpose of you having that wealth? I remember a writer said, the life you touch that makes what of whom you are. So the life you impact outside determines the amount of wealth you have. So having a wealth without impacting lives, without changing the world within you, then that wealth you are having is still a waste. I must say that, in fact, whichever provision God gives to you, it's believed that that provision is for you to elevate the kingdom of God.
I saw a video of one of the clergymen, I won't mention his name, in Nigeria, inviting an American singer to come and sing on his birthday, and it was okay for him, but for me, as an ordinary Nigerian that saw the video, I was disgusted, because you have so much to offer to the society than really going extra mile to invite a singer.
Welcome. This is a continuation of last week's episode, Clergymen and their Affluence. I have with me in the studio Godfrey Agaya.
A pleasure to be with you.
He is a former member House of Representatives and a businessman. Thank you for being part of Dateline Abuja.
Thank you.
And I have Izere Precious Ois, an education consultant and social commentator. Thank you for being part of Dateline Abuja.
Thank you.
Still continuing, for guests who don't know, that's why I'm introducing you again. We're still talking about clergymen and their affluence and their display of affluence. Now, how can the government regulate or give stiff policies on how they showcase their affluence? Mr. Godfrey.
It is an idea that is long overdue. It is a policy thrust that we must be able to tell ourselves that the time has come for government to have an interest in how religious activities are conducted. So whether we like it or not, it is one of those part or aspect of Nigeria that are so sensitive and people react so hard whenever it is mentioned. So government cannot allow it to just drift the way it is. Last week, you wonder what happened when a particular sect went on a march to try to close down the National Assembly. In other countries, that cannot be allowed to happen. So we must not pretend that when it comes to religion, everybody must keep quiet. We cannot pretend that when it comes to religion, you cannot say you're right or you're wrong. The law should not be a respecter of anybody, including what they profess to believe in. So government has a responsibility to see how we can tackle through very good legislation, how we can put a level playing field for how you can practice your religion without molesting or without becoming a burden to somebody. And everybody goes about his business without the fear of somebody in the guise of religion coming out on social day, and therefore no such persons are allowed to come out as well. Let me be specific. We were supposed to make an yesterday. We were told that don't go out because a particular cell will be coming on a protest march on the road. And the whole street, the capital was locked down. It shouldn't be like that. That's why some of us see it in the same wavelength with governors like El-Rufai. He may not be the most liked person, but he has some ideas that if we look at it without bias, on the long run will help this country. The anti-preaching law, that you don't just carry your microphone in the morning, you blast to the loudest volume, and then you disturb your neighbor, even when he is not willing to hear you speak. So we must not shy away from bringing out some good laws that can moderate. You see religious bodies making tremendous profit year in, year out. What is government gaining from so much that is coming out from such religious houses? Is government taxing them? Is government collecting anything for the very enabling field they are provided for them to do their preaching? So government cannot keep quiet. They should come out with some little standard.
Little, you said?
Little, because we must start somewhere.
Okay.
Because if it is so hard at the initial, certainly many people will not understand. So you start something a step at a time. You bring out maybe just regulated preaching, you now come out to taxation, you now come out to so many other things. In fact, we will not even be shy to give them a dressing code. If you come out in such a manner that we have to ask questions. If your shoes is Gucci, you have to tell us why it has to be Gucci. I am not against wealth, but I'm also against you being an example of wealth to people who may not understand how you're getting your own money. So we must not keep quiet as government. We must not keep quiet as a people. We must engage ourselves in an open front talk to see how we can bring about some sanity in this sector.
Oh, do you want to add something there?
Well, yes. No society can function properly without laws. One of the causes or reasons why we have a lot of moral issues today in Nigeria is because of impunity. People just do things without regards to consequence. So there must be regulation. The truth of the matter is that, you know, the practice, the way most of these people do their things, most religious sects, organization, can be very offensive and annoying. You know, without being biased, without sentiment. I'm a Christian, and I'm an ardent believer of my faith, but it does not negate my position to do what is right. There must be proper legislation, not just, you know, to our religious practice, but to every other thing that requires some level of sanitization. That if the lawmaker has just said it, if the National Assembly can actually sit, you know, come up with proper legislation, not biased, proper legislation to actually checkmate the excesses.
Do you agree with him with little, we should start little, or we should just start?
Well, you see, let's look at it holistically. Rather than begin little. If it's something that can be addressed once and for all, we know we've addressed it once and for all.
But the kind of money coming, the hundreds of millions of dollars coming in, which is small, to start regulating small.
You see, the issue of the financial solvency of religious institutions, it's a little bit more. We will get there, but I think there should be more responsibility given to them considering what they're raking. Yeah. Yes. We should consider what they're raking. There should be more responsibility to societal developments.
That's what the issue.
But they also say they contribute to social, corporate social responsibility.
To what end? There should be a standard.
Yes. There
should be a standard. Once you know that our financial institutions should be able to, you know, declare. Let them be a gazette. In fact, there was a day in one of a local assembly where I used to worship. We were having workers' meeting. And the man of God was asking for suggestions of how to improve, you know, participation. And I made a suggestion that there should be a gazette, a financial gazette on how monies generated are being expended. That will give people confidence to give more, to commit more financially, if they actually know how the monies are utilized.
Yes.
And the man frowns.
So
at
there's
me.
no accountability.
No accountability. No accountability, and that is what actually make people behave wrongly. They behave wrongly when they know they are not accountable to
anyone.
Yes. So there should be some level of accountability. There should be a council. There should be a governing council that will check the excesses of these people. There should be sanctions. There should be sanctions, because we cannot just continue, free for all and feel they are above all. They are above God. Oh, they cannot be touched. Touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. And they leverage on that particular scripture.
That's where I'm also coming when I say we should start with a small standard. You know why? If you go to some of these religious bodies now, succession line has already been defined. If the owner or the overseer or the founder dies, his wife takes over.
Yes.
If the wife is not there, the son takes over.
So
it has become basically
it's a family business.
So
an enterprise.
If it is, government must say something. Because are we now registering churches as what you can run, or mosque as or place you can run as a private enterprise? Does it give me power to pass down to my son when I'm no longer alive? Does it make it a call, or does it make it succession by birth? So these are the areas of regulation that I'm talking about. And we must start, like I said, when something has long accumulated and you want to just dismantle it overnight, there will be resistance.
I understand.
So, and of course, government is a continuum. The law-making process is yearly. You can amend even by tomorrow. So let us start something that can really have a basis and a foundation. We build on it, and before, give us another 10 years.
Okay, so this brings me to my next question. Now, you talked about how religion is the opium of the society. Why are people falling victims for this kind of rock star pastors? You said something about discerning, and we had a little, an argument that how can you discern between who's right and who's wrong? When all of them, they come in the same parcel and package. How can people discern, and how can people know who's right and who's wrong? What are the people, what do we need as individuals or members or shepherds to say, these people, how are we going to hold you accountable for this?
You see, the Bible is clear. I think that should be in the book of either Luke or John, where the Bible actually talked about, do not be like the hypocrites who will pray out loud. Say, whatever the right hand is doing, do not let your left hand do. I believe relationship with God. The church is not necessarily a building, as people say. The church is you as an individual. The state of your mind, your sanity, your relationship with God. And relationship with God is personal. The church is just a medium for you to understand certain principles. Let's not, throw away the fact that the supernatural exists. The ability to bend universal laws for man's benefits is there. Once you pray, you don't see God, but you just have this belief in your inner man that there is a supreme being that oversees, that governs human existence, that you're communicating to. And something happens, you consider that a miracle or prayer answered. And when a clergy, either an imam or a pastor, makes certain proclamations or pronouncements over you in form of a prayer, and it happens, there is this tendency for you to want to ascribe him as even God, because he said something and it came to pass. It could just be
what if it was, yes, so exactly, unless you just say, what if it was meant to happen anyway?
Natural occurrence. But that is where the human, gullibility comes into play. That is why the Bible actually is an instruction, it's instructive.
So how can people discern? That's my question.
It's instructive. Pray. There is no manual. There is no manual to how you can actually discern. You understand? It is channeling your spirit man to your spirit origin. Every mortal must understand that before you existed here on this mortal face, you existed somewhere. So the relationship and intercourse with your spirit origin must not be undermined. And that is where you actually build up yourself spiritually. And you can discern, you can feel it It's an energy you need to develop that exists around you. It is not something you give to logical explanation or reasoning. It is beyond that. It is deeper than that. And God can actually, you see, let me tell you, when people say, the prophetic is not always, doesn't mean it's satanic or demonic. No. There are genuine ones. Before the advent of Christianity, our forefathers had their local deities that they worshipped. And they were able to foretell what will happen in the future. And this thing come to pass. Were they satanic?
Exactly. So how do you understand? That's my point. That how would you discern who is actually using the olden days means and using this with the new grace, How would you discern who is who? Because everybody sees. Somebody can tell you the phone number and still tell you your phone number or tell you this is what you had for breakfast and still collect money from you. How would we know who's real and who's not real?
For me, it is very simple, because there is what they call quality control and analysis in whatever you do.
Absolutely.
Now, if a blessing comes to you, seemingly blessing comes to you, and days after, that same thing you have ascribed as blessing turns out not to be blessing in the right sense of it. I don't know whether I'm making a point. You have prayed for something. You have gotten it. That something that you have gotten is supposed to bring some positive impact because you have prayed and asked for it.
Yeah.
It comes to you, but then it becomes a problem. Have you seen that happen?
Yes.
So that is number one way, because the scripture is clear. It said God's genuine blessing comes with no sorrow.
Yes.
There are those that come with the sorrow, even when you see it as a blessing. That is the number one quality test to show you that you have gotten this seeming
from a wrong source or channel.
Tomorrow you don't go there. You tell people too that, look, this is my testimony. It happened this way, but this is what I'm getting out of what I think should have been genuine blessing. Yeah. But like I said, people hardly want to say that kind of thing. They are afraid that I may be talking ill about the man of God. And that repercussion may follow because I've spoken ill about the man of God. Exactly. And most of the problem is our ignorance in our personal research and reading of our own scriptures. I can read. I don't need somebody to tell me I will read for you, I interpret for you, then you use it. Then it's clear. I have it. It's handy. And I know how to pray, because if you say you are a believer in whatever faith, you should be able to know how to talk to your Creator. Do I need a louder voice to talk to my Creator? Am I going to shout? If there's a solution to getting what I want, I enter my room and I will shout. But we are so complacent. We believe that it is a piece of cake, that we just need somebody who is set apart as seen as man of God, who can do and undo, and whatever he does, I must accept it is correct. Even when I feel it deep down that I'm not happy with it. I'm forced to also play along and do this normal pretense that most of us do. We just follow the crowd and show ourselves to be. Like I say, religion in Nigeria is basically for identity's sake. And unless we remove that purpose of having a religion, and that the purpose of having a religion is to talk to God, we'll all be drifting. And we'll be carried along by people that want to manipulate us the way they want.
Okay, now let's take counsels from both of you. How can people know, followers, the shepherds, the sheep who are following the shepherds, how can they know how to discern, and how can they know which rockstar church should they go to or mosque they should not go to? How can you counsel them, Mr. Godfrey?
Well, for me it is simple. The deeper you are on individual basis to your Creator, the better for you. The more you take time to study your scriptures, the better for you. Because it is in it that there is food, water, bread, and whatever you need. So we must focus more on praying individually. We must focus too on ensuring that our immediate altar should be in our own homes, so that we don't only go to church or go to worship centers and find an opportunity through somebody to talk to God. We can do so at any time and at any place, and God is able to listen to you wherever you are. God is not localized in a particular building. So you cannot say, until I go to X, Y, Z, God cannot hear me. God is omnipotent. His presence is everywhere. So we must allow ourselves to key in into the fact that God loves you for who you are. God has not said that you must go through somebody for that love that he has for you before it can manifest. You can get it anywhere at any time. If you are filled, if your spirit is filled with the undiluted word of God, then you are immune. The moment you even see a fake person, your disciple will tell you, because you are also not empty.
Yes.
But most often, we want to shy away from getting that commitment between you and God, believing that there's somebody somewhere who can pray out all my problems. There's somebody somewhere there who can tell me my problem before I even ask God. He will see me for far and say, there's somebody there that has this.
Thank you. Oh, you still want to say something?
Yes. In addition to what the Honorable has said, people must endeavor to look for God by themselves. God has no tribe. God has no religion. He's not a Buddhist, he's not a Muslim, he's not a Christian. He's God, the creator of mankind. The principles of creation is similar in all religion, whether Islam or Christianity. So if you understand from that perspective that God is who he is, the owner of mankind and the universe, you will realize that you don't need one man or one woman to tell you how to see God. You don't need one man to manipulate you and tell you bring money and bring this for you to see God. Two, you see, these fake men of God or clergies have actually flourished by capitalizing on the failure of government to provide the basic needs of humanity.
How?
Yes, in other civilization, because I'm going to relate it to, let me use first world nation. These are peculiar problems for a third world nation like ours. In other civilizations, people don't go to church that much because the basic challenges of man is within their control, as provided by the government. Free education for their children. You don't worry about, oh, and my child must attend the best private school, and that will now tilt you towards doing what is wrong in pursuit just to fit into social space. You don't worry about health care. If you are sick, you have the best medical facility to deal with that issue. Churches are no longer, don't become teaching hospitals anymore. But the collapse of basic amenities by the government have actually made people, Nigerians, to seek for alternative in areas where there is indeed no solution. And that is the truth. So we must also look at the sociological angle to this menace. We must look at it critically. Where people will feel that the sticker of one man of God will prevent thieves from breaking into your house because of the collapse of our security system. Where people will feel that one water that you purchase at a certain price will drive away all the demons or will make you heal. No, it's not. So government too must ensure to put things in right perspective. If we have good roads, proper security, good healthcare system, good education, I'm telling you the dependence on God to do so many things for us will be less.
Thank you so much. It's a very good topic, and I think we shouldn't take it for granted. I've been talking to Mr. Godfrey Egaya. He's a former member House of Representatives and also a businessman here in Abuja. Thank you so much for being part of Deadline Abuja. And Izere Precious Ois, an education consultant and a social commentator. Thank you so much for being part of Deadline Abuja. The program is Deadline Abuja. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. The fear of the wrath of God has totally and religiously scared Nigerians from talking about how some clergymen bask in affluence without checking effect on how this pattern can influence the younger generation. It is ironic how it is obvious that some clergymen are craving for power. There are no stiff policies and regulations on how to monitor the activities and finances of religious institutions. If we can talk about, checkmate, or even criticize the government, why can't we hold our clergymen accountable for their display of affluence? It is time to differentiate between a clergyman and a politician. And that's the much you can take this week on Dateline Abuja. Please keep a date with me, same time, same station. I'm Hawa Momo. Bye for now.